Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Today we're checking out a new route that's been out for a little bit on the download station called the Canadian National Brighton branch. This is a completely fictional route modeled after the late 1930s Canadian National, using content from K&L Trainz. Definitely go check out their website to get the Canadian National pack. There's actually quite a few locomotives. This branch line uses exclusively small locomotives. We don't have anything bigger than 6 drivers on the largest wheelbase, but it's just a one-way branch line that heads north from a mainline connection up to the town of Brighton. Once again, everything is fictional. It's got a nice class yard there, and then we do all our sorting in that yard. Today on screen you can see our pickups here in Brighton Yard. We're running the morning relay. This train heads from Brighton down south to Valley View to interchange with the main line, and then do a block swap and return. First thing we're going to do here is grab some of our pickups out of yard track 3. This yard is set up to operate where the last cars that come in are the first cars to go out, and that's just because it's a stub-ended yard. And it gets really packed. The branch line here has a lot of cars that move, and the yard gets pretty packed up. So by having the last cars in be the first ones out, you can minimize the amount of sorting and car swapping that needs to be done in the yard to speed things up a bit. I did put this route on the download station with the intent of making it for multiplayer. It's only one baseboard in size, so it's quite small. It's got about 180 cars on it or so. Feel free to check it out, download the multiplayer session, and get with some friends and make some stuff happen. Here we're on track 0, grabbing our extra reefers here. We have the ice tracks in the foreground on that last scene. Whenever the ice tracks get full, we actually put overflow cars on track 0. And of course, like any good modeler would do in the 30s, we got to make sure to grab the caboose. And while the switcher is getting the train ready to depart, we are going to take our road power right quick and head over to the turntable and turn it around, and then come back. One nice thing you're going to get to see with this video today is we're going to actually travel the entire route. So you'll get a full operating preview of everything that we have to offer here. Everything is finished scenery-wise except for the very last town of Valley View. The buildings are laid out, the tracks are laid out. We just don't have any actual scenery. I haven't added any static vehicles or traffic or anything like that. I could go back and add those on the final release, but as far as the version that's on the download station, I mean, it's 85 to 90% complete. Looks good. It just a few finishing touches are needed. Alright, now that we've grabbed our last reefers, we're going to go shove those onto the train and get the switcher out of the way, and then we will hook up and head out. Just make sure we clear the crossover there. I do like running the steam trains in realism mode. However, some of them sit for so long that they lose all their steam boiler pressure, so I tend to run them in DCC mode since this is a small layout. I kind of reserve the realism mode for bigger routes, personally. I do know there's a hotkey that can like instantly replenish your boiler pressure. You know, I know all that stuff exists. I still run it in DCC mode. Just is what it is, I guess. Our locomotive today is Mogul number 89. This one would be familiar to some of you guys if you're Strasbourg fans. I do believe that 89 is the mogul that is at the Strasbourg Railroad. As we head out here, just kind of talk for a bit about what you're going to see. We're going to pass through, I believe it's 3 towns. We're going to pass a farm scene, which is nice. But the layout is set up. There are 12 trains you can run, I believe. Yeah, 12 trains, I think. Got a morning relay, an evening relay, and a ton of locals. So the nice thing about it is if you do want to do multiplayer with some friends, you can easily split up jobs. You know, I think 3 or 4 people could stay pretty busy. And then, of course, if you wanted to do it in single player, you know, 1 train at a time would work just fine. Our maximum train length is about 12 cars, but we're running 10 today, so not too bad. I will say if you do run it on realism mode and you're heading back north into Brighton, there is one area where the grade is pretty steep, and you might actually have some trouble with these small engines getting up that grade. This is our first town of Templeton, south of Brighton. That does have its own local that serves the town here. There's a little small brick factory, a team track, and a shed for perishables. As we round the corner here, we're going to pass the co-op. This is one of my favorite jobs to run. It's not intentionally a switching puzzle, but it is a bit of a challenge to try to do the switching moves without fouling the main line. But once you round the corner on the co-op, you reach the tower here. Now every train has to stop at the tower to make sure that there's no conflicting movements across the line. In order to simulate the interaction of the crew, what we do is you stop your train here, wait about 5-10 seconds. Since time runs at about 4 times pace, you know, it's the equivalent of 20 seconds. But give some time for you got to run up there, get some orders, and then get clearance to get back in the locomotive, and off you go. There is a yard to the left here, plus an industrial area to the right that are both served by some locals, so you do actually from time to time get trains moving on the other tracks there. And there in the background you can see the interchange tracks for that railroad that crosses this. Now we're coming to the town of Hartley. Hartley is actually served by 2 locals. And as soon as we round this corner to the next scene, you're going to see why. Very busy town. Lots of action here, lots of things to do. And that doesn't even count passenger operations, which there are some of those as well. Now that we're out of Hartley, we continue south, coming up to the coal mine. I'm not going to focus on the coal mine in this video, but you do get a brief glimpse of it there. It also gets its own local. And like I would assume any branch line from steam era, or especially the 30s in the middle of nowhere, you know, slow speeds. Slow is the name of the day. This is that area here when you're heading back up. The grade's actually pretty high. It's kind of tough to keep it up if you have loaded cars coming up. These little moguls and 10-wheelers just don't get a lot of traction. This is the last part here that is finished scenery-wise. As we get into the town of Valley View, you're going to see that it's kind of roughed in, but there's no real scenery as you can see now. So here's kind of how this works at this point. We come into the siding here, or we're on the main right now, but there is a siding, and basically you cut your train, and then we're going to run around to the back and go ahead and turn the locomotive. And then once that's done, we will move out, shove the cut onto the open track in the yard that you'll see in a little bit, and we will grab the empty track, or sorry, grab the track that needs to be picked up, and then we'll get the caboose and head out. We're bringing in 10 cars this time to set out on track 3, and we're going to be picking up 10 cars off of track 4. Sometimes you pick up more or less depending on what's available, but this time it's just kind of how the way it played out. I am using JMRI again for this route. I just love JMRI for routing cars. It's nice and smooth, prints out nice switch lists. I do understand that in this day and age, switch lists weren't necessarily a thing. Handwritten ones maybe, but really it was more about waybills. That's fine and all, but when I'm running trains in the digital world, I don't really like to handle paperwork, so just my personal preference. Alright, so here we've already connected to the back, and we are now shoving. We're going to shove all the way to track 3. Leave everything, including the caboose, over there. And then we will clear the switch, get to track 4, grab the cut, and come forward and clear the switch again. Looks like we've got a couple of stock cars this time, and a flat car, and some reefers, and the rest are box cars. Sounds about right. Understanding the era, of course, most of the movements are with box cars. That's pretty common, but we do occasionally do some hoppers and reefers and flat cars and stock cars. There's also occasionally the tanker for fuel as well, but not very often. Alright, now that we've grabbed the caboose, we're going to head out and head north. And since the rest of this trip is going to be rather uneventful, we're going to go ahead and skip forward here to the arrival at Brighton Yard, I believe after this cut. Yep, so when you arrive in Brighton Yard, what you do is you pull forward to the house switch that takes you to the engine terminal. You cut your engine right there, go put your engine in the terminal, and grab the yard goat and get to work. Last thing to do here is to take our inbounds and sort them into Brighton Yard. They can go into any of the 8 tracks that are available, depending on what JMRI says. Stay tuned for more videos in the future. I appreciate you guys tuning in today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There's quite a few more videos I'm going to do just on this route. Plus, also, I've got some videos coming up again on the good old North Texas Beltline that everybody loves so much. But yeah, thanks again for joining. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you guys next time.